Hello everybody and welcome to Z2R. And today we have a Max Rando tournament with Paratroopa and bobtheelder. As the commentary today, we have Mirai and Ignite Crawler. Say hello, you too!
Hello, YouTube. You too.
Yeah, but I think... Hello, U2 the band? Are they in chat?
Bono?
I never... that was a late 90s band, right? I wasn't really into pop music at the time. Were they good?
They were all right.
Okay. I don't know these things. Or did they start in the early 90s?
They started in the 80s, actually.
Oh, man. I was 10 years... I was 10 years behind.
Little YouTube band history lesson here before we kick off tonight's race between Para and Bob. I am Mirai, co-comming with Nightcrawler here.
I love Paratroopa's names on there. Ah! That's how I feel before any race, or how I felt before any race.
Also, looking at their file select screens, now that you say that, Para is playing with, going to have the Simon Belmont sprite, and Bob is going to have the Dragon Lord sprite. So
it's good versus evil. Or, the Dragon Lord was just misunderstood, I think, right?
You'll have to take that to the Dragon Warrior community. I'm not sure.
Danger Mole says that U2 started in the 70s?
It's entirely possible.
Oh my god.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. It was early 80s. They were singing like Sunday Bloody Sunday and stuff.
Wow. So they were banding it up before I was even born. And hello in chat. I want to say hi to Chadbert, Irene, Zero Wing, Danger Mole, Alan. Who else we got in here? That's all so far, but I'm glad to see you all here. Ooh, I like those colors on Simon.
All right. Glove, cross, hammer, key, 5 gems, the jump spell, and every heart in the game to start this one off here.
Yeah. If they ever die, then the race is over. That's what it is.
And a free thunder in Saria.
Oh, so good.
Looking like we got a mountainous biome here today. That's going to be my guess, especially because Saria is across a mountain range. That's usually a dead giveaway.
Oh, and we already got life level 2 after killing 1 enemy. All right.
Pretty easy seed here from the looks of it so far. We'll have to see if there's any real trolls or what is going to be the twist. Maybe there won't be a twist. Maybe it's just going to be a jet seed. Maybe it'll be a quarter-mile drag race, and we'll be out of here in, 38 minutes. Sub 40?
Could very well be. I mean, but you know what? 5 gems? There's plenty of opportunities for things to go wrong.
There is, and I'll be honest, I don't, I think both of our runners here, they're 0-1 from last week. They're not like, I don't think that they're the runners, the types of runners who want to just immediately jump into a palace. I know Paratroopa generally doesn't like that style of gameplay. I don't think Bob is going to be that aggressive either. But then again, I don't know. It's Max Rando. You took a loss last week. Maybe you're willing to switch it up in week 2 here.
Yeah. Irene mentioning her Billy Lee sprite. Oh, man. I was going to do one of those, so we might be competing at some point. I don't know when I'm going to do it, though. I only do like 1 sprite a year now, so...
I was going to say, you did the Final Fantasy Fighter sprite just a few months ago, so, we don't expect to see anyone anymore until maybe quarter 4 of this year.
Yeah, it sounds about right. It's like I'm a band, right? You put your hot singles, and then you just live off royalties.
Yeah.
Did you 2 do that? Let's ask Danger Mole about that. Danger Mole, how many songs did you 2 have over their 40-year career? Were they 60 in the 90s? Oh my god. So old.
Yeah, I don't know much about you 2 beyond the 90s. I do know the GP is on the West, though.
Yeah, that's a good GP. Not too hard to get to, so hopefully they don't forget where it is. It's not like right by the start, so it's kind of one of those locations that you can actually forget where it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's too far from the start, though. It's right here next to the coast. They might be. There's a bridge down here too. They might be having to traverse this bridge back and forth a little bit.
So we see a key there. Do you think that's what's replacing the heart containers?
That one. See, we kind of had this conversation before for everyone in chat here. We weren't 100% sure on how the heart container replacements work. So they start with the 8 hearts. The normal vanilla game starts with 4. So when the randomizer kicks you up to 8, it's going to remove those other 4 hearts out of the seed in this case. And so that means there's going to be 4 junk items just placed about. And so that means the randomizer is going to pick junk items. So whether those junk items are all the same for every single heart it pulls out, or if it just picks one and replaces all the hearts with that one item, we're not 100% sure. But the key that we see there is a dead giveaway that that was a heart at some point, seeing as there are no just, keys that get shuffled about in the other. And there's another one. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the theme.
Maybe all of the items are now keys, and they'll not pick up any new items.
Well, they start with half of them. Geez, half of those and twice as many hearts as usual. Max Rando could go 1 to 8, but if we're talking just standard, 4 hearts is standard.
So it looks like Bob the Elder has found his way to the eastern continent.
Yeah, real fast there. Very interesting where the bridge lands you on the east. The raft tile is literally like 2 tiles, 3 tiles away from the bridge. And that means because the raft and the bridge cannot sit on the same border as the continent that it sits on, that means the bridge is on the east and the raft is on the north side. So we're probably right in the northeast corner of this map.
Wow, that's some Sherlock Holmes shit right there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there someone giving you hints?
I know a thing or two about the Rando, and I know people who know a thing or two about the Rando.
Trying to impress, everyone in chat is one thing, but you got to get up pretty early in the morning to slip one by me, Mariah. I saw you lose that one time.
That was back when U2 was in the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's when Dig Shake did his last update, right?
Yes.
Zero Wing is not liking my jokes. Oh my god. I thought I brought some pretty high quality dad jokes so far this time.
All right, P4 and GP on the west. I think we're still looking for one more palace. With our Islands East, though, Para has found the boots, and that Islands East is going to be pretty simple as a result of that. So, maybe not a sub 40, but maybe a sub hour here. I think we're looking at solid sub hour material here. As Bob does not have the flute to get past the River Devil. See, if he had the boots from the west, he would have been able to do that.
Gotta get them boots. I love boots. Boots are like my favorite item. I'm a boot guy, I guess. Which is strange because I only have like one pair of shoes that I'm wearing at any given time. I'm not a shoe person.
Most people can only wear one pair of shoes at a time. To be fair, don't get yourself down on that fact.
It's true. I guess I'm not that far behind everyone else.
Wow. So what would have gotten one item so far? It's been 2 keys, pea bag, the boots somewhere. There was a jar, I think, on the grass tile, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, we're kind of expected to see that, though. Again, they started with 4 items or 4 items and all those hearts. So we are going to see a lot of nothing items throughout our overworld locations and even our palace locations as well. They get shuffled together.
So, King's Tomb doesn't have a hint. So that's interesting. And Para has found 3 or 6 here.
That's gonna be our 3rd palace on the west.
I kind of want to see it dive right now. They got
me too.
Yeah, just do it.
I mean, it's 3 or 6, and you got downstab, right? I can see some runners aren't comfortable if it ends up being 3. They're not comfortable with the downstab-less Rebanak, and so, they don't want to do that this early on. But they started with downstab, so Para's not going in, but maybe we'll see Bob going. He's headed out in that direction. He'll eventually get there.
Ooh, lucky River Devil. Well, it could be lucky for whoever gets the flute first.
Well, Para's already got the boots, so River Devil is out of the picture.
Angel, I like that that little icon right there. Zelda 2. It's classy. Bob the Boot Elder.
We know Magic Container Cave is going to be the boots here as Bob picks those up.
Now, I gotta ask you, you meet a woman, and on the same day she's asking you to meet her family? Is that too fast?
You can't apply any sort of logic here in the world that we live in to Hyrule. It's a different society, and people expect different things.
I guess.
They live by a different set of rules, Casey.
I thought I lived by a different set of rules.
Well, you you thought so until I pointed out that only, everyone wears one pair of shoes, so.
No. We're in Hyrule. Lionel's wear 2 pairs of shoes.
Well, I mean, you aren't in Hyrule, but, we're watching people in Hyrule.
You don't know where I actually live. I told you Southern California, but there could be like an embassy of Southern California in Hyrule.
We are in a mountainous biome here.
So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty at home. I don't see enough snow, though.
That would be interesting to see some snow tiles be implemented in the randomizer overworld tiles.
Thank you, Zero. Thank you. Yeah, I would like to see that, too. Okay. I want to see, basically, snow act like the way water does, where you kind of trudging through it, but it is at different levels. So, whereas water is only on the bottom, snow would be, terraced like other things. That'd be fun. And then you could have ice, too, sometimes. That'd be cool. I love ice physics. I love ice levels. Shoot me. Not a fan of the sewer levels that's in every NES game, but the ice levels that's in every NES game I do love.
I could see ice being potentially interesting in the randomizer and in the side-scrolling screens, especially because we have dash, which is part of this flag set, not part of the vanilla game. But you slide around like you're on ice. If you're shooting through the screen really quickly, you just kind of slide around. Para's got dash, so we saw her dashing around a little bit ago, but I'm sure she'll be dashing again. I'm sure both of our runners will be dashing at some point, and anyone who's not familiar with dash will be able to see that soon enough.
Winter Solstice has snow that acts like the way I talked about? Or is it just on the bottom? Because if it's on the bottom, I mean, it's just white water, which is cool, but, I mean, it's in code, it's the same.
I see item room for Bob there. Not going to go in on that. In P6, it is going to be a Rebanak guarded item room.
Oh, acts more like swamp tiles. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Well, you said you wanted to see an early dig here, and well, we got Bob in about 10 minutes. He's been in here a little less than a minute, I think, digging around. We'll see if we can find Barba.
I'm all for it. That's a dead end there.
It is. Bob heard you.
Well, but you know what? He's first to be exploring the palace, so I think he's got a good head on his shoulders right now. They have fairy. What actually do they need? Maybe reflect if they want to do P5. Sorry, P4.
I mean, yeah, it's over there on the west too, so it's not that far to access. If they only need 5 gems, they could skip whatever's in Death Valley. GP's on the west, so yeah, maybe if P5 is out and about, we might see these runners avoid P5 and try to go into Death Valley then, and try to see what else is in there. Could be like 1 in Death Valley.
Bob getting a much needed attack 3. Took forever to kill that blue skeleton.
Yeah, both our runners, same levels here at 333. Para is about to show us a little bit more of the east over what Bob has shown us here. She's about to head south of the River Devil, if not already. I think this is as far as Bob could go. I think this is the life spell here in Naburu.
Why am I locked in this basement?
Nope, it is Reflect. I did not catch that fast enough.
So now they have... And you said that Thunder is free, right?
Yeah, it's in Saria.
Saria.
Just north of Star.
Neither of them picked it up, but they got it.
Yeah, well, they needed fairy. They're on the backside of Saria from where we start. So they needed fairy or Bagu. So I imagine they'll get there.
Right. So they technically have everything they need except perhaps the raft and a flute, and of course they'll probably want more magic containers.
Yeah, that's true. We might want to go to Maze Island today. There won't be anything blocked that they're gonna like. Maybe it's Child on Maze Island, but I don't know what's going to be in Daruni that they could absolutely want. So I can unless a palace is there that they really want to do again. Like if we're forced to do a 5 and they want to skip a 5 and rather do the palace on Maze Island or Death Valley or something, I think we'll see those digs, but. Otherwise, they've got it. They're essentially in go mode. They're in no mode, I guess. They just need to go get Thunder, which may or may not be required in our GP, and then that's it. I mean, just beat the game, right?
Yeah, just beat the game. Easy as that.
I mean, even the candle here.
There we go. There's a flute. So that's another possibly required item that's in the bag.
That's true. That's very true. We talked about the River Devil, and obviously completely avoid him with the boots, but we could have a 3-eyed rock. We could have a 3-eyed rock, and there might be something of use underneath there.
Oh, true. Yeah. Yeah, it could be raft under there or something, I guess.
You're really liking this raft. I guess it could be a raft. I mean, it could. We haven't seen Death Mountain or Maze Island yet, so it could be cave, could be raft, like you say.
I always want to see Death Mountain. You know that.
Yes.
Okay, so Para picking up the second extra magic container. So those wants that I was talking about, those are very slim for Paratroopa right now. She probably has enough to cast Thunder, if not now, within a couple magic levels.
Yeah.
And that just leaves possibly the raft. Other than that, I mean, she's got everything, really.
This P6 is, well, I don't know. This dragon seems like it might be a little buried. I'm not sure if we've seen a lot of this P6 just yet, half of it or whatnot. It could be up to like 30 rooms. So it might have rolled very high today in terms of room count. But Bob's still looking around for this dragon.
True. It was the barred windows, wasn't it? So it's it is
yeah.
P6. I hope that the fight goes well, because this dragon is pretty well buried.
I think he just looped back around to start. I'm pretty sure this is the starting elevator junction, and so he needs to go left here, because right is going to be the item, and left is where he hasn't been yet.
It does look familiar, yeah.
They even start with a cross, man. So it's like even the MOAs on the east are just, everything is free here. This is a great comfort seat. I mean, this is, on one hand, you have avoided that kind of nightmarish start that Max Rando can give you. On the other hand, you're in a race and your opponent's got that same comfortable start. So you can't just there's no dozing off on your comfortable bed and your comfortable pillow. You do have to move and get into places and finish this out, before your opponent.
Speaking of comfort, and this is for everyone. This is for you. This is for Mizu. This is for chat. You're having a grilled cheese sandwich. What soup do you have with it? I know. It's hard to imagine any kind of food outside of chicken breast. But just in case you had a grilled cheese sandwich at some point.
I'm speechless. I don't know.
Well, Lost is going with the tomato soup. That's a classic. And unfortunately, Bob did bite the bullet, or kick the bucket, bite the bucket. Whatever.
Take a dip.
Take a dip.
Bite the fireball and take a dip.
But there's plenty of lives in stock. Noodle soup. Okay.
I'm afraid of giving an answer that I'm going to be shunned for, so I'm just going to go ahead and stay soup agnostic here and just let chat talk and let you give. It sounds like there's a proper answer that you're waiting to hear, and I'm not sure what that may be.
I think the proper answer is tomato soup, but I've never really been a big fan of tomato soup, so I'm open to just about anything. Except you're probably gonna say what's that cold Italian soup?
I don't. I'll be honest. I'm not much of a soup guy, so I don't know.
I'm just saying, the only way you can be shunned is if you pick that, like, chapata or something like that? I don't know.
How about some miso soup? That's not for grilled cheeses, but that's delicious.
Miso soup?
Miso soup, yeah. Sorry, we have Mizuro Fox, who goes by Mizu, and I'm, like, totally confused here.
Yeah, water soup? Miso soup? I guess most soups are miso soups, in a way. Miso soup is a valid soup?
Yeah.
Would you put that in a grilled cheese sandwich? I'm not sure.
Not at all. No, it's a Japanese soup, and it's delicious, but it does not belong with a grilled cheese sandwich.
I mean, you might as well put the tofu in the sandwich itself. That might not be terrible, but I don't know if that'd be good. Can of laughter?
This is a one beefy Barba on attack 3 here. I'm pretty sure they're going to want attack 4 sooner than later, and Bob might be getting that after this dragon here. Do we have a read on what palaces are on the east? Because Para has done this trip twice now. She has gone by this. This is the third time she's going to hit this town and pass by here. She's done 2 full laps around this biome. So
the bosses are dropping 50-point P bags. Good kill by bobtheelder. Good job there. Placing the first gem at 19 minutes and 14 or so seconds.
Yeah, about a solid 9 minutes in that palace, and didn't get the item. Knows where it's at. I wonder if he'll go back and get it. But he's going behind. Maybe he doesn't know the read on that outside boss room.
Well, 9 minutes in P6 when you go in there with your highest level being 2. That's not too bad for P6, is it?
Depends on how close the dragon is to start, I guess.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Bob's looking for the item and not gonna find it this way, right?
Yeah, I'd say even with the low attack level, the downstab technique just allows you to kind of bounce over everything if you don't want to fight it. So you can still kind of speed through 6. I mean, speed. I'm loosely using that phrase because 6 can be pretty long, but yeah.
Oh, true. And there were a few fights that were a little protracted, but I don't think there were too many of those, so pretty good stuff. Alright. You know what, honestly, Bob doesn't really need to look for the item, so we know that it's probably not something worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's the raft that you're hoping to see. Yeah. We've seen two magic containers back to back in the environment tiles on the east, and so he's going to have at least 6, as Para has now. That's where she got her 2. And Barbara slithers with the raft!
Oh my god! That is amazing, and Bob knows this.
And it's one time. I'm almost positive it is one room right after you walk in, and I think he identified it as a dead end room, but it is a boss guarded room, a boss guarded item room.
So we haven't seen Death Mountain yet, right? So the raft.
No, Death Mountain fan man. Sorry, I'm making fun of you. It's like every 2 minutes you're gonna be like, "Have we seen Death Mountain yet? Have we seen Death Mountain yet?" I want him to come.
I'm like in the back. I'm in the back of the car kicking your seat.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough, but you will let me know if we get to Death Mountain.
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to miss it. I might be.
I mean, you might be lucky that maybe it's raft to Death Mountain, and then we have to dig for a cave in Death Mountain to get to Maze Island. Is that kind of what you're hoping for here?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a valid hope. I mean, I'll put my vote in for that.
Unfortunately,
because everything. Yeah, everything else is so easy here. We might as well give him something to get a little, caught up on.
Yeah, I would like that. Thank you. Unfortunately, I don't think even that would tempt them to do it. Because I mean, even if that were the case, they just skip the Maze Island Palace and be fine probably. So I'll just have to console myself to Islands biome and Volcano biome, right? Was the other one?
We have a mountainous here. Oh, or are you talking about Death Mountain biomes? We have a mountainous on the west and an islands on the east today.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I like islands. Balance is good. I'll console myself with that, knowing that we're probably never going to see Death Mountain or Maze Island.
I mean, we might. Para's looking for some. Like Para, I'm not. If we get an interview with Para here at the end of this, I have to know what we're looking for because she has been. They're finally an up and A. I don't know. She's because even her tracker shows she's all found the 4 overworld locations, the basement in New Kasuto, and then the spell tower, which she doesn't have the spell for. She's seen all of those, and so I don't know what else we were looking for. Maybe it was just like a full exhaustive clear of the east, hoping to find a cave that led, maybe directly to Maze Island. Doesn't look like that's the case today because it seems like she did like 3 trips around that biome.
Looks like we got a little bit of a high five here between Para and Bob.
Both picking up their thunder spell here.
Right.
We know that all 3 palaces are accessible. You don't have to go over Saria's crossing here to get to the other palace on the west. We got GP 4 and then it's 6 here on the west, as Bob has already done that. And it doesn't look like we're missing anything because Para has the full tracker filled out on the west. So there is not going to be anything over here unless it's a town. Or unless we have a connector cave or something. Maybe we'll see a raft, so we'll know that the raft will be useless at that point. But then again, I'm not 100% sure here. Bob's showing us what we're seeing here.
Okay. There is a possibility we could see Death Mountain and Maze Island. So like we were saying, if they go into 6, they get Raft. Raft goes to Death Mountain. Death Mountain goes to Maze Island. Maze Island has a second connector to a blocked off area in another continent that has another palace in it. Then you'd have to do that because you'd need to clear at least one of those palaces. That would make my day.
There you go. But hopes and dreams semi-crushed as we have a shortcut via the cave. There is that connection to Raft Death Mountain and then cave to Maze Island, but there's also the standalone cave to Maze Island today.
Life is too cruel for me.
This randomizer, today's seed that Mizu has rolled for us has been just a friendly seed here. A friendly Thursday night race between these 2 runners and a friendly seed to give them.
But is that what I want?
Well, I mean, you should roll the seed next time if you want something evil. Or give Mizu $50 to make an evil seed.
Mizu, is $50 your price?
Either that or a sheet of cookies. Either $50 or cookies. Okay, 200.
Ooh, okay. Yikes. That's a lot of cups of ramen.
Para's looking around in here, sees the rock. I think she's going to go through this cave and check the rock out. There's a lot of digging for things that I am not entirely sure we need here. This is Para. Para and I raced last week, and she even said during the post-race interview that the jettiness of our seed really wasn't her style. And that, she's more of a let's full clear everything in the overworld and then go into palaces. She hasn't really changed that stance since previous tournaments. And it doesn't look like she's changed the stance here in week 2 of this tournament. So still looking around for things. And, I'm about to steal what you wanted to say. That magic container could be useful. Yeah. So, sometimes this is the benefit. Maybe magic containers will be. Maybe magic will be staying expensive. I didn't see how much thunder was to cast. So maybe it's going to stay super expensive, like it has in some previous seeds.
All right, Bob has the prisoner, the escaped dwarf prisoner. Is that bad? Should I not say that?
I'm okay.
Is that worse than saying a child trapped in some old man's basement? Like, there's never anything good about this child. It's always something suspicious going on. What was the child doing over here?
You're gonna have to interview the child and/or the parents in this case.
True, if the parents are still around. By the way, at this point, Paratroopa has so much stuff that I think searching for items, any items, is going to be a bad move. The chance that you'll find that last magic container out of all the item containers that are left, out of all the item positions that are left, is slim to none, right? I mean, unless you search every single location.
Yeah, in the overworld we got Hammer Cave, we have Spell Tower, And we've got the 2 items on Maze Island, one of which we know is the child. I don't think we saw the second one, though. So there's only 3 spots there, and that's pretty slim. You know, you've got 5 other palaces that could have an item in there. We know that Barba has the raft, so the other 5, maybe it's sitting here in 1. Maybe Para's going to get super lucky. I already have the other 3, giving her 7. She'll find the 8th one here in P1, and it'll just kind of be a total meme seed.
That would be something. But yeah, I think maybe even if I saw the item room in 1, I'm not even sure I would check it. I'd love to load myself up, but just the odds of it being the only item that could possibly be useful are low enough that I might actually pull a dig shake and just turn my nose up at an item and not even check.
Yeah, I mean that's a play, especially in these comfortable seeds. If you know, again, both runners got the comfort of the seed, and sometimes you got to make things a little less comfortable for yourself, because if you're both checking everything, you're both doing the same stuff, and you might be at a slight disadvantage, then you might as well just start going and doing things. And Bob is up a gem at this point, so maybe that's going to be the deciding factor at the end. That P6 seemed a little deep for the dragon. Sure. Then again, maybe Pyra just walks right to the dragon. Like we've seen plenty of races where someone spends 9 minutes in P6 and the other person spends 2, and that's pretty big at that point. But I don't know. Bob's got the edge right here, right now. But these are all dead ends down here. I think we need to go left at start.
Yeah, and Bob could clear GP without picking up any of those magic containers.
Yeah.
I mean, Thunder could become affordable. Probably not, but you might not need it. You might not need Thunder. And in fact, if you don't need Thunder, if Thunderbird is not required, then it's better to never fight Thunderbird at all. And if you've got Thunder and you see Thunderbird, you're going to think, oh, well, I might as well cash in on my investment in getting Thunder and all these magic containers. Whereas if you can't cast Thunder, you're always going to look for another way. And that could save you time.
Absolutely. Yeah, you see Thunderbird and you can cast Thunder. You're like, well, I might as well just do it, right? I might as well just do it. And it's hard to back out of Thunderbird's room unless you do find yourself in the position where maybe you don't have enough like actual magic remaining to cast Thunder. You'll just turn around and go do something else. But yeah, if you don't have any to cast it at all, then you're definitely not going to be able to fight it. And so you're just going to turn around and try to find somewhere else, like you say.
All right, that's one dead horse head. And these bosses are dropping measly 50-point key bags, so there it is, yeah. Not that exciting. It's like they dropped a bag of Fritos or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is nice, I guess. I'm gonna get totally pwned by the Frito lovers in chat.
Bob's sticking around for the item here. Could be at the, nope, this is a straight pass through here. There's a community room that looks like this from the left-hand side, and it has an elevator on it.
Yeah, Fritos are fine. They're fine.
No, right. Bob is out. All right. Are we going to see Para dig out the item in 1 here?
Would be interesting to see if that were the case, yeah. How's it going?
Looks like it. Sometimes you've got those seeds that you just have those really rough starts to them, and you need to find all the things. And that's where Para's strategy is absolutely going to shine. But, again, Bob is out of there. It doesn't... we know this isn't going to be something too game-changing. I don't know what it could be to where it's game-changing. Anything other than just another magic container at this point. That's going to be the best thing that she could find. And it's going to be right here, so we'll see it in a second.
Well, I'm going to bet you $20 that it's nothing.
Oh, my God! Shut up.
What? You didn't accept the bet, but it could have happened.
Well, now there's absolutely nothing left in this seed to find, okay? We know where the flute is. We know where the raft is. We have the trophy on Para's side. The only thing we could need is the medicine, which I'm pretty sure is a spell where we already started with it. So I'm pretty sure the medicine won't even be out there. So we're done. We've literally seen every item's, possibility in the game here as far as I know.
Jeez. Damn it, now I need $20.
Para's literally done with the game at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, don't look for any more items, please, Para.
Now, Bob doesn't have Reflect, so he needs to go east to get Reflect, and then he can come back and do P4. Otherwise, he needs to get himself east and start doing those palaces. And I didn't even see what we had on the east, so I don't remember what Para had seen over here. She did a lot of walking, but I just didn't catch any of the palaces. Bob back in the 6. I think he wants that raft. What does he want that raft for?
Ah, dang it. I just lost $20 real quick.
So Bob went into Maze Island, saw the second cave on Maze Island, went out of it, stuck you into Death Mountain, and there was the raft tile there that he walked over to check if he had the raft, which he doesn't.
Yeah.
And now he's back in 6. He's the one with the hint for Barbara Slithers with the raft. So he's back here now looking for the raft. But we've seen all 4 biomes. We saw the west, we saw the bridge to the east, we saw both Maze Island and Death Mountain right next to each other in terms of connectors, and that's it. We're done. So this is what Para needs.
Yeah.
Bob was definitely in the lead here by a gem, and this is exactly what Para needs, is for Bob to come back in here thinking he needs the raft for whatever reason. I mean, he's even seen both sides of the raft. When you hit the bridge going east, I made a comment that the raft was right there, the raft tile that is, and seeing the raft tile on Death Mountain just lets you know that that's exactly where it goes.
And Bob is committed. You hate to see it.
Yeah, it's a right here at this room is outside. I mean, as soon as he gets the raft, the sooner he gets the raft, the sooner he gets back to doing palaces, the better off he's going to be.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this is all the dip was, it's not too bad. What's that? Going to be like 2 minutes? 2.5?
Yeah, I mean, attack 4 now as opposed to attack 3 or attack 2 he came in here with earlier. He's much better off. No shield spell, though. I think they're missing shield. I don't know where that is.
Now, if you want to corner Rebanak, the best way is to put your back foot in line with the right side of the number on your life. So it says life 5. You want the left part of your sprite to be there, and then you jump over as on the first pass. When Rebanak goes past you, and then it'll be cornered for you. And you can just jump step, down stab until it's dead.
I'm waiting to see what Bob's going to do this raft here. As Para digs through 3. Was this in Death Valley, P3? I thought I saw some lava encounters on Para's side.
I didn't. I was paying attention to Bob, unfortunately.
Okay, it was outside of Death Valley. All right.
So how many magic containers are in this game? Would that mean you could only have at most an 8-tailed fox? I mean, you start with 1, right? So 1 per jar after that? That'd be 9? I guess?
I'm sorry. Did you say 8 magic containers equals an 8-tailed fox?
Yeah, I don't really know where it's coming from, but
there might be something in the water in your local area.
It'd be funny if it was a Simpsons creature, a 9-tailed fox. That's a good jump from Para. I mean, not too
Unfortunately,
hard,
it's a dead-end room, though.
Yeah. It's a cool room.
It is a cool room, and I kind of wish it was a pass-through. It's something that kind of belongs in, like, GP with the lava and the 3-tile high jumps in that midsection there. Maybe we can design some new rooms, and maybe we can have something with some, birds jumping around in there while you're trying to make those jumps. Lots of fun stuff we could add.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you, Irene. I was just, unsure about, like, what the qualifications were for getting an extra tail or something. And I mean, you can divide it differently. Like, each magic jar is 16 magic. So you could, if it's 2 magic points, then as soon as you eat your second jar, you'd have enough for 9 tails. It's just a matter of perspective, I suppose. All right. Maybe Bob just wanted to see the dragon sprite.
I mean, that's entirely possible. He just wanted to show it off.
Thanks, Bob.
That's a unique raft sprite for anyone who's confused on what that is. To go along with the Dragon Lord sprite that he's using.
Yes. When Bob picked up the raft item, it actually looked like a raft, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so someone changed it to not be the ball of light like I made it originally. That's fine. It was confusing people.
Yeah, I don't think any of the custom sprites that are preloaded into the randomizer have anything different about them. I know that there are. Yeah, I know that there are sprites though.
It would confuse people every time. No pup time. Cute little dragons there. No dongos.
Bob didn't spend too much time. Like it wasn't too bad as long as he can just hurry up and find Rebo, because it seemed that Para had a little turned around in here. She hit a few of the sections twice, but very quick because she's been dashing around the whole time. Whereas Bob is not dashing, and so I would give the edge to Para here, even though she's maybe hitting a few extra rooms here, taking this Death to Rebanak, but the dash spell, if she just keeps using it and Bob doesn't, she's going to just continue to close that gap and probably pass by Bob unless she gets caught up on something else along the way here.
Irene, from my experience, I was going to do fighter with sword chucks, but there's not enough pixels to really show 4 items and the fact that they're connected and all that. There's not enough pixels to do that. So if you want to show a 9-tailed fox, a kitsune, I don't think it's going to read that well. It'll just kind of look like a mess of tails. So you might want to not have 9.
Oh,
you're not going to be able to count them.
Oh, so P3 was in Death Valley. It looked there, unless there was a shortcut to get in there.
Oh, cool. Well...
Or is that Death Valley that we're going into now? I'm so confused.
Yeah,
Zero said it was outside.
We're going to VOD. We're going to VOD.
Okay, that makes sense. There we go.
Finished the palace, so...
So 2 palaces right next to each other. Perfect. This is just going to be
nice.
In and out.
And with that, Bob's going to be up to 4 if Bob does the same thing that Para's doing. So I wonder who's going to win. Because at this point, it's a bit.
That's what we're all wondering, Nightcrawler.
All right. Are you? Wait, hold on. Are you telling me if you knew who was going to win, you wouldn't be here? You wouldn't be calming? You wouldn't be watching?
I probably would be, but it takes a little bit out of it. I would say if you already know who's going to win.
Yeah.
There's a little less excitement. I like the excitement to be genuine when you see people make plays.
What if it was like Trails versus the newest player? I mean, you have to watch that because you got to see how the new player's doing. So I guess that's a bad example. What if it's like Trails versus me? You don't have to watch that. You know Trails is going to win.
Yeah, if I don't watch it, then all of a sudden you win, and I hear you win. I'm like, man, I wish I would have watched that.
Bob trying to do a jackhammer on that blue-red iron knuckle. Yeah, not worth it. Juice not worth the squeeze on that one.
Quick question for anyone who was paying attention. I saw Para walk into what was 2 or 5, but didn't stick around for long. My eyes didn't lock on for long enough to see whether there was a jar in the statue or not, so I'm not sure if we're in 2 or 5. If anyone can clear that up.
Someone ask Skeleton.
Maybe no one was watching.
I was also watching Bob, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm hoping he...
Bob also checking out this room. I'm glad we got to see it on both sides, because I do like the room.
What's extra interesting about this room is that there are 2 of these. This is a community room that's a dead end. There's 2 of them that look exactly like this. One of them has lava as its floor, and the other one has a hard surface as its floor. Otherwise, they're identical rooms, and so that's a dead end you'll see, probably a fair bit if you do see the community dead end rooms facing to the left like that.
What is Lost eating for dinner? I'm looking at dinner, she says.
Hopefully it's, dead and cooked, or, unless we're looking at something outside, like a raccoon or something. I don't know.
Frozen enchiladas. All right, I could do that.
Like enchilada popsicles.
Yeah, don't even defrost them. Mizuru showing off her cookies. Oh my gosh! You know what? You gotta put that in. Like, you gotta show us a picture. Get your phone, put it in Discord, and paste a link in chat. I gotta see these cookies.
I'm going to talk about something here in a moment. Right now that we just saw a moment ago is that Para saw another dead end, but traveled it all the way to the end because she didn't recognize that it was a dead end. This is something that veteran runners will have, the more experienced runners will have that room knowledge that when you see that dead end, you know that there's nothing down there. Unless you're looking for that last minute P bag, you're looking for a key, that if there's like key scarcity or something like that might be at the end of those dead end rooms. But otherwise, walking those all the way to the end and having to walk all the way back is just, nothing more than a time loss. And so the experienced runners, that's something that will set you aside is practicing, when you're practicing the palace layouts and everything, learn what the dead ends look like, both vanilla and community rooms.
So right there, we also saw Para. Para had dash on, but it could not possibly have been a useful item in that item room.
Yeah. So. Well, I guess she doesn't know that. Like, it could have been a raft from her perspective. But again, she has seen the cave and the raft connection there. Could have been a child. I don't know if she's seen Darunia. I guess from her perspective, she didn't find the child on Maze Island. I don't think she did.
Yeah, and it was a one-up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was not the hook shot.
I'm not sure they're going to find the hook shot in this seed.
The Cane of Burn would be pretty good in this game. A little bag that was worth less experience than the actual enemy. Always fun.
This is unfortunate. Bob's getting a little beat up in this P3. P3 is going to be essentially what is essentially our second smallest palace. And so these palace digs, if they end up being this taking this amount of time for Bob every single time, again, Para with the dash spell, is closing the gap. She's already got third gem placed here, and it's just going to keep going from here, and it's going to kind of just snowball.
Yeah, bobtheelder's having a lot of trouble in this P3. Now, as far as you were saying earlier about checking rooms and being a veteran runner, I thought you were going to say it first. If you have been around in the Z2R community, but you haven't raced the newer versions, you would not be familiar with the new rooms.
That too.
Because you have to race a lot in the new versions of the game to see all of those rooms.
Yeah, I almost wonder how many people actually come over from vanilla, because there seems to be a large separation between a lot of vanilla communities and randomizer communities, that many people don't really cross those lines in either direction, whether there's actual wars that are happening or whether it's just the lack of interest for what that game entails. Because it's like vanilla tends to be a scripted song and dance. Randomizers tend to be a wild thunderdome of nonsense that you have to figure out every single time you fire up the game and put the pieces of the puzzle together. Not nearly as elegant. It's like I don't know, blue collar work versus white collar work. One of them is a little bit. They're a little different from each other.
Ooh, Bob taking a little death there. The Revenak was off screen, and when it's like that, you can't really downstab it. Get a little over enthusiastic. Oh, in the wrong position now. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I guess it was slightly off.
Yeah, I don't have timestamps on when Bob came in here and when he's going to finish versus how long it took Para, but I don't think any time was saved on Bob's side at all, even though Para, they both seem to get a little turned around. Maybe there was a duplicate room and I just wasn't seeing. I wasn't paying close enough attention, I'd say.
I think Bob took a bit longer, actually.
Probably due to just not using the dash spell.
Yeah.
I was going to say here we're in 5 on Parasite, so this is going to give us what 3, 2, and 5, 2, 3, and 5 on the East today.
Sounds right.
Yeah, because Para was already into 2, and found Helmet Head and is out and is into 5 now. So that's all the time that Bob wasn't able to make up in P3 there.
But Bob is also on the lava tower right now, so I can only assume. Yep. No. You don't want to do VOD? You know, there's a palace back there. Okay. All right. Well, you know, teach their own. There's 1 extra palace in this. If you don't want to do VOD, that's cool. But then you gotta look for the other palace.
Yeah, I'm pointing out Little Lurch is saying in the chat there, he's mentioning that there is a gigantic document now that does document every single palace room that is currently in the game, and whenever more get added, that will continue to be updated. So if anyone's ever confused or someone wants to see what rooms are in the game, what they look like, and all of that information, it is in the Z2R Discord. You can find that in the resources channel if you jump in there.
You say whenever more get added, you're not possibly hinting at anything right there, are you?
I most definitely am. There will be at some point more rooms added, but I would definitely say that the next time rooms get added, that not nearly as many rooms get added that were added. Not the same amount get added that were added in the 3.0 to 4.0 transition, which was over 100 rooms. I think another 10 rooms or so for maybe standard palaces, maybe 5 rooms for Great Palace, something like that, something in there, I think, to kind of mix up what we currently have, because one of the biggest complaints from older runners and even newer runners is that there are just so many palace rooms to be able to identify. And you do have to play the game a lot, like you said earlier. You do have to play the game a lot to be able to really learn all the different palace rooms, but also the enemy sets that can appear in there and where they can appear. Some rooms have multiple configurations to them when it comes to enemy sets, doors, small items, etc.
Up an A from Para. She's going to be on her way to one last palace. Now she does have Reflect. Does she remember where the palace is?
Yes, I think I'm going to toss it between 6 or 4 here. 4 could be just as bad as 6 seemed to be, so I don't know if there's any time to save. Then again, 4 is going to be closer, I think, because it's right here on the other side of this mountain, just to the west. We hit the water. We can walk around. There's a little opening here.
Nice. Yeah, that's a play. I definitely prefer doing 4 to 6.
I would I may as well. I don't mind a 6 though, but it is, I don't know, Barba could have been at the bottom of the first elevator, and then we would be saying, you should do 6, Para. And maybe Karak's at the bottom of the first elevator. He's not, but maybe he's very close by, whereas Barba didn't seem to be so close for Bob.
All right, let's see these little Pez bricks.
Para not checking the bottom of that first elevator there, going right.
Well, that's a
or there. Karak could be chilling in one of those. There's an elevator in here, though, going up.
You like those elevators, don't you? But you're right. It is a good thing to check those. I guess Para's just trying to use that dash to its most efficacious, efficient, whatever. Trying to make use out of that magic.
One of those looks like a loop anyway. So here's our second elevator down. Is it left at start or this elevator down? We know she's been in this room because that door is missing. She's going to loop right back around to this room.
There we go. Oh, no.
And Karak.
Easy peasy. Just gotta.
Could have been here 18 seconds earlier, Para.
Oh my goodness. Para, can you believe how much time Para just wasted?
This is ridiculous. This has almost cost her a sub-hour entry in the GP. It's gonna, it could cost a sub 52. I don't know. Probably not.
A sub 52? Yeah, because it's 52 right now. I would say.
Well, it was so close. It was so close because you got to place the gem. She's probably gonna take the level. Then you got to up an A, and then you got to walk to GP, which isn't too far from start, but still.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If that was your most important thing in life, making sure you get into GP at sub 52 minutes. I guess Para just failed at life.
I mean, if you want to use that logic, sure. I mean, I guess you can connect those dots. That's I think we're kind of connecting dots a little out of order, but I mean, they're not my dots to connect, so.
You know those dots used to come on the wax paper?
Yes, I do.
What were they called?
I have
Candy?
dots. They're called dots.
Yeah,
I don't
they're called
know.
dots. Yeah, probably.
They're like little buttons.
And you would just eat a little bit of paper every time you ate one.
And that's why I am the way I am today, Nightcrawler.
Yeah. I could tell. You sound just like a guy who's eaten way too many pieces of paper.
5304 or 5305 barrier up for Para as she is the first into GP here. Bob still looking for Helmet Head in P2, trying to place that 4th gem. We have options at the start here.
And there's a nice ferry, but not in the best position. I mean, might as well just up an A. And of course, that ferry is always a dangerous one to get.
So this could be a fake out ferry room here, and it is.
Still, I hate going up those blocks. So
now this jump right here seems simple, but it's pretty terrible. So if you want to cast jump to get up here, I don't blame you, but you can definitely make the 3-tile any 3-tile jump you can make with Link. That's his max height that he can jump is three tiles or 3 blocks, however you want to look at that. But yeah, you can make that jump, but it's kind of bad. And if there's a bubble there like there was today, that bubble will eventually be in your face, knocking you around as you're trying to make the jump.
actually, Mirai, you can't make a 3-tile jump if you're in a hallway that's only 2 tiles wide. 2 tiles tall.
Is there somewhere I can try that?
Yeah, Z2 edit.
Okay, I didn't think so. I'm sorry, we're not looking for a helmet. We're looking for a Goomba. It was that fast for Para. Did I?
That's pretty good.
Oh, right. Because Bob didn't go into Death Valley. Oh my God.
Oh,
Doesn't
well,
even matter.
Still, you know what? Good job on this Goomba. So Bob's not that far behind.
Sleepy Easy Seed. They had better thank Mizu for rolling this one. Oh boy.
Yeah, this seed is basically the chocolate cookies of Zelda 2 randomizer seeds.
Yeah, I was saying that Bob did not go into Death Valley, so he backed out of there, and P5 was the one outside of Death Valley. P2 was inside of Death Valley. That's why I was a little confused. But regardless, it is the end here, as Para has taken the win, moving to 1-1 going into week 3 here. And Bob's going to fall to 0-2, unfortunately. Started out fairly strong. Was first to place that gem in P6, although it took him, I think, about 9 minutes to place it. But still, slightly ahead of the curve as Para was kind of traversing the eastern continent a lot and still looking around for some items to finish collecting. And Bob had the lead, but in the end, Dash and Para finding essentially every item in the game was pretty much sealed the deal to get her into palaces and just go. And Para's a veteran player and she knows what she's doing. So, yeah.
Well, great job to Para. I see 3 GGs in chat. I know there's more than 3. Oh, no, 4 or 5. Okay, I can't count. Okay, five's enough GGs, I guess. But, let's try to get 8.
Let's not be greedy here. I mean, is this
I guess.
It's a small community, Nightcrawler.
It is, but our chat just got a little bit bigger as I believe Para just dropped in. How's it going?
Hi, GG.
Well done. Ooh, look at Mizu's cookies.
I'm sorry, that's inappropriate.
Wait,
No, I'm kidding. Anyway, people can't see them, but yeah, GG, Para.
Yeah, thanks.
What did you think about this seed when you started off? It had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this was kind of a frustrating seed because it's one of those I don't like where you have all the key items at the start. You have the glove and the key.
Wait, where was that?
So you can start like just like digging the palaces like immediately, but the problem is that I am not very confident about my great palaces, and I like to have some level ups before I go there, and I like to have some magic containers. So like I did a lot of item searching in the seed, but it was really only for magic containers because I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough. And I ended up finding all of them like surprisingly early, so I got kind of lucky on that front. But it turned out I didn't really need to do any of that because GP was super free. So I didn't really need to do as much grinding as I did in the seed, but it worked out anyway.
I got it marked.
Yeah, you know what? You hit those magic containers, which are basically like one of the only items that could have been useful to you.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well. The last one, I was like, when you were in P1, I was like, checking P1's item is pretty much useless because there's no way it's going to be an item.
I know. That's like, I felt almost bad about hitting that one because it probably wasn't a good idea to check it. I only checked it because I'm like, well, I have dash and I know that it has to be at the end of this path, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just you know, it'll take me like 30 seconds to check. I'll just do it. And it ended up being the magic container, which ended up, I didn't really need it in the first place, but like, you know, I didn't know that at the time. I'm like, okay, that's really good. I got really lucky there.
Yeah, it was the most useful thing you could have gotten.
Yeah, and the same thing for the magic container in Death Mountain, which I also went for, which again I didn't need, but I was like, well, I have the hammer. If I find the rock, I'll break it. I'll see what's in there, and it was a magic container. So sure, whatever.
That's where it just went,
yeah, that's pretty awesome right there. But yeah, I mean, how about that start? Those starting conditions: down stab, a bunch of spells, eight heart containers.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was like, this is not good. Because again, it means that I have to make a choice about how much grinding I want to do in this seed. Because like theoretically, you could do absolutely none of it. You probably could beat this on 4 magic containers like pretty easily, I think, if you know what to do. I definitely, the magic containers help a lot, and there are a lot of GPs where 4 would not be sufficient, especially to cast Thunder, which you don't need to do in this seed. But like, really, you don't. Other than the boots, also you need the boots, but those are really easy to find early on. Other than that, like, you don't really need anything in this seed, and that puts me in a tough position because if you don't have any of the key items, you don't have any heart containers. That totally justifies looking for every item in the game because you need some of them. And some of them, like, only the very best players could play this game, 4 heart containers, bad levels and all that. So just if you don't have all those starting items at the start of the game, it justifies looking for items. And I feel more confident about that because I can beat people with routing and with, making good decisions about searching. But I have a harder time beating people with just combat alone. So starting with all the key items like that is actually bad for me. I don't like to see that. It makes me have to make really tough choices going forward. But it didn't hurt me in this one.
I think I probably would feel the same way as you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel, because also looking for all the items lets me fight more enemies and get my levels up higher. Because I like to be... I want to be at least like 5, 6, 6 going to GP. Like I feel good about that, but anything less is like, ugh. So that's also really tough if you have like a low gem seed. Those could be really like scary. This was 5, so fortunately I was able to do a lot of palaces, get my levels up to a comfortable place. But yeah.
Yeah, if it was 2 gem, not a lot of levels going to GP at that rate.
Yeah, I still don't really. I don't really know how to play those seeds, honestly. Like I don't know the optimal way for me to beat those in the best amount of time.
Now I think Mariah here probably has like a 500-page document, of how to do that.
I do not divulge my secrets. There is no document. I'm sorry.
Not even a
no. I
secret
mean,
document?
to be fair, I mean, I don't really think anyone knows how to play those. I mean, it depends on your loadout, and then you have to kind of feel it from there. And those are always nerve-wracking seeds, no matter your skill level. It's just like, where do I? Especially if it's a glove hunt, it's like, where do I go? Where's this glove? It's like,
right, exactly.
You got 8 directions to go in front of you. You're like, well, I hope I pick it correct soon enough, sooner than my opponent does.
Yeah,
you
can have seeds where like you need glove and great palace, but everything else is open, and you just kind of have and like glove ends up being in like 5, and it's just like who decides to search 5 first.
Exactly.
Those can be those could be won by basically anyone, and I kind of hate them. They're good. That kind of seed is good if I have to like play from behind, but like if I'm playing someone on an equal level, I'm like, I don't know.
That's kind of why I like those seeds, because if you're playing someone who's better than you, like me playing against anyone in the tournament right now, you just make the hard. You roll the hard 6 or whatever they say in Battlestar Galactica. You just like, okay, what's the least likely thing that could pay off big? And sometimes that works.
I do that sometimes. If I think that I'm behind in a run, then I'll like make whatever the least likely gamble is the other player would make and see if that pays off. And it has like once or twice. Usually it doesn't, but that's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Mirai probably wouldn't have to worry about anything like this because like there's nobody better at Zelda 2 Randomizer than Mirai.
I would disagree on that. I mean, when the randomizer comes into play, like, I mean, I don't, I'll be honest, it makes me a little comfortable when people tell me that I'm good because, once you start living that life of thinking you're good, the randomizer just craps all over you and you lose the next 7 games you play and it makes you feel terrible. So it doesn't really matter, like, your skill level in, I don't know how many percentage of seeds, if you have a low resource start, then a player who's better at combat, as Parrot was just talking about, when, if you're concerned about your combat, then someone who's better at the combat part of it is going to likely excel in that type of seed. But even at the end of the day, you still got to find the same items. So unless you're starting with the stuff that's free, like if this seed was in play with the items it gave you, but it gave you minimal hearts, a more skilled player in combat will excel at this type of seed. But if it, like we just talked about, the glove hunt, where do you go? Someone's going to go somewhere in a direction you didn't, and they're going to find it there, and you're screwing around in a completely different direction. So it doesn't really matter what your skill level is. And we've seen plenty of upsets because of that. So, I don't think I'm, first of all, I don't consider myself the best at anything because this is a randomizer. There's no ceiling. I mean, Jesus Christ. Okay. It clearly makes me uncomfortable when people are like, Mariah, you're the best. I'm not the best because I lose all the time. So, people aren't there doing all the casual races with me while I'm losing. So regardless.
Bob found Darklink really fast too. That's good.
I would say that I probably would lose this seed to you just because I think that you would play it much more aggressively than I would, and it would pay off in this instance. I would have lost this one to you, I think. But there are other seeds where that wouldn't be the case. Yeah, well,
here's what I wanted to talk about is that when it came down, when you were talking about how you're not comfortable with these types of starts and you're concerned about getting in earlier than your opponent, Bob is the one who placed the first gem. He went into P6. You never saw P6, but he was in P6 for 9 minutes. So he was in there at the 10-minute mark. He placed the gem at about 19 minutes, and so he hit the first gem down, and then you eventually closed the gap there and just took over, as we know is the rest is history. But we were talking about that. Is that who was going to be more comfortable in this seemingly very comfortable seed to jump into palaces first? You might have the advantage there, but Bob was not using dash, so your usage of dash easily gains you some ground from behind very quickly.
Yeah, that was one place where the magic containers really paid off, was being able to use dash a lot more.
I was close.
Because that saves a ton of time.
Yeah, even if you're making mistakes and seeing rooms and wrapping around, it's like you're in the room for seconds, as opposed to just like 3 to 5 seconds if you can get through there quickly, as opposed to 15 to 20.
Yeah, of course.
Good job, Bob. That was you finished up that last part pretty quick there.
Yeah, I got lucky. Like I could not find P2 in Darunia, and it was killing me. Like I just needed Reflect, and I was like, I can go get those two, and I won't have to bother with Death Valley and all. I was just so frustrated.
Today P2 was in Death Valley.
Oh, not P2, sorry. P5. P5. Yes, my bad.
I had trouble finding Death Valley and P3 outside of Death Valley too. That actually, I wasted a lot of time looking for those.
Yeah, is that why you were looping around the east twice? So you did like 2 laps over there. Okay.
Because I couldn't find the entrance to Death Valley or the palace that was like right next to it. So I'm like, well, I need to find one of these. Like that's not optional. Even if I didn't have Maze Island yet either. But I was like, well, even if I find Maze Island, that's only 4 palaces. I need to find one of these 2 And I just somehow circled around the middle, like I just didn't see it for some reason. So that wasted some time, but it worked out.
Yeah, and I did everything but the bottom of the map. I kept circling around the top of it, like because it was just so spread out on the East Continent. And actually, I think I found P3 pretty early, but I couldn't find P5, and I didn't want to run Death Valley, so I was like, knowing P2 is that way. And I spent way too long trying to find another magic container. I was just worried I was going to need Thunder, and with 4 magic containers, it just wasn't going to happen.
Funny enough, Para found the other 4 in the seed.
I got really lucky and stumbled upon all 4 of them. Yeah,
it was crazy.
Holy crap! I found one at the very end of it. Every item cave I did was other than the one that had the boots, was a pea bag or a key. Like it was absurd.
Yeah, it makes sense that you didn't find them because 2 of them were the desert tile and the water tile, and those are both in the west of Eastern Hyrule. Then one of them was the boulder in Death Mountain, and one of them is at the end of P1, past the boss, where I just decided to just dash to the end because I had dash. So I'm like, well, I've seen the rest of this palace, it shouldn't take that long. And I just got lucky. Got it.
And see, I stopped. I went a few rooms after that because I figured I was a little behind, and I should have just finished digging out P1, but I was like, I must have stopped just before I got to it then.
Yeah, it was like 4 rooms deep, I think.
Yep, I did. I stopped 3 rooms into it, thinking, "Well, this is still just going. I guess I'll warp out of here."
Well, it didn't end up being that big of an impediment to you.
Yeah,
no.
It's nerve-wracking though. I get it. Not being not wondering if you're going to need Thunder, or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a little rough. I was like, man, I knew there was at least 2 because I had found a new Kasuto and it said you needed 6. So I was like, well, there's at least 6 in here. Surely I'd find one of them.
Funny enough, you were both in P1 at the same point in time, and I think I can't remember if you got through the horse first or if it was Para that got through the horse first. I'm not entirely clear on that, but what we were telling Para was that with that start, it kind of came down to, and maybe you feel the same way here, with that start, it was very comfortable. Did you feel that you needed to get into palaces ASAP, or did you want to do a little bit more exploring? Was there like this kind of a conflicting balance between those two you're trying to figure out?
A little bit of both. I kept feeling, I was looking immediately for palaces. That was what I was just going to do, go straight out. But I was like, I kept seeing all the caves, and I'm like, you know what? I might need the boots. I might need the raft. I might need a container. I might as well keep, a magic container. I might as well just check them while they're there because I felt pretty comfortable going through them. And at first, it was a good way to get a little bit of, a few levels here and there. But yeah, I was mainly like just trying to find palaces. Like, had I found the ones earlier, I would have dug them and not done as many of the item checks as I did.
Yeah, because you were the first one into a palace at 10 minutes. That was P6. And unfortunately, P6, I believe it took you 9 minutes to get through P6. I think you walked in there just after 10 minutes, placed the gem just after 19 minutes. That was quite a dig into P6. If that had been a faster Barba, you would have definitely been off to the races. You would have even had more of an advantage there going into the next palace. But you also weren't using dash, and maybe that was because you just didn't have a lot of magic, and Para had a ton of magic. So Para was dashing all over the place, eventually closed the gap, and then surpassed you. And you entered into GP about 10 minutes after her, and then you see how easy that GP was, just essentially hold right.
Mm-hmm. That was it. I was impressed with that one. Yeah, dash is a little bit of a weakness with me because, see, I'm used to playing standard tournament flags, and the last 2 I've done didn't have dash. So, I'm not used to using it.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag between runners and how comfortable you are using it in what rooms, and is it just going to result in you taking more damage? Are you just going to be taking excess deaths it's like you kind of got to practice a whole different way of moving your character sprite around each room. And I get it. There's plenty of people who feel either they love dash or some people that absolutely hate dash, and then plenty of people kind of in the middle scattered all throughout.
I kind of like playing it with fire as the other spell, just because you can always roll a thunder or something with it. But dash has its utility to it. My problem is there was that one because I kept needing magic, needing fairy, and the other stuff. So I was afraid to use it a little bit. Though with 3 lives, you've got a little bit to burn there, and especially with all these heart containers and the levels rolling pretty good. We weren't taking a ton of damage. Attack was pretty decent. But I kept forgetting I had it. That's the biggest thing.
That's true. That's true. Especially when it starts out expensive when you first get it, and then it's like you can't even cast it. You kind of just got to forget about it until it eventually comes down in cost, and then you're like, oh yeah, I can be using this now. I should have been using this maybe 10 minutes ago or so.
Oh yeah,
it happens all the time.
Now I was kind of taking your side a little bit in the beginning, Bob. I think that 9 minutes in P6 when you go in at 2-1-2 at the very beginning of the game, that's a pretty decent time, especially since it's the longest one of the longer palaces. So I thought it was pretty close for a while, but yeah, Para using dash with that magic reserve, I think definitely helped Para pull out ahead there. And I think, Bob, you also took a bit longer in P3, although P3 seemed to get you both turned around.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble in P3. I kept missing. It had so many of those loops, and I just kept going through all those loops and didn't realize it was just that one section to go up on, and that frustrated the crap out of me. I felt like I did P3 worse than I did P6, honestly, just because I felt like I wasted a lot of time in P3, like just trying to find that.
Yeah, I also had problems with P3. There's like just the one weird place where you have to go, and was that the one that has like the trick? There's like never mind. I felt like I looped, then I was like, well, maybe I didn't loop, but then it was a loop, and then there's like just one weird place you had to go. It was weird.
It was. Yeah, it had like 4 intersecting loops. That was the thing. You would loop into one, then go into the other one, loop back into the other one, and it was so hard to tell which one was going into which one.
Yeah, that's the problem I had too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just have one final question here, Bob. When it came to the raft, you got the hint that you were in P6. You actually saw the item room at first. Did you know that it was the item room when you first saw it, or did you just think that was a dead end room in the outside room there?
I thought it was the dead end room.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Because because in P6 the boss guarded room is going to be a Rebanak. Wasn't sure if you wanted to go in on that Rebanak at that point in time, so you backed out. Wasn't sure if it was the Rebanak not wanting to fight it, or if it was you thought maybe it was a dead end room. Okay. So you got through P6, and then you saw the hint for the Barba Sleuthers with the raft, and then you did confirm. I don't know if you remembered it because you went back for the raft, and then you checked the raft connection. And you had seen the raft very early on when taking the bridge to the east, and the raft tile's right there. And then when you were on Maze Island, you came in via the cave, you hit the other cave, which took you to Death Mountain, and the raft tile was right there. So we're like, okay, that's where the raft takes us. And then we saw you go back into 6 for the raft, and we were like, wait a minute, did he forget that the eastern connection there right next to the bridge is the raft? So what was going on there?
You called it 100%.
Okay.
I completely forgot. I was in such hunt mode on it. I completely forgot that I had been on the East Continent, and that I had the bridge tile was there. And I was like, man, I got to get to the east somehow. That's where my brain was thinking, because I kind of felt I was a little behind at that point. And I saw that tile, and I went, crap, that's it. I should have just dug out P6, and then I would have had it. Yeah, I would have felt like an idiot either way, because if I'd had it, I would have gone right on that tile and then been brought back where I was. But that's it. You called it. I completely forgot about the southern part of that continent, because, to be frank, I got really turned around in the western continent with all the little canyons right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. That wasn't a huge time investment. It was probably like 2 minutes. I think that played one of the larger roles in terms of the difference between the two outcomes. So I think with that said, you guys both played the seed very well. Like, you both got some very good times in there.
Yeah, Para did really well. And like, I'll be honest with you, yeah, I've been very happy with. I mean, I've lost both of them, but I've been very happy with both times that I had. It was a gamble. The first one I did, Homewrecker did a gamble on it, and it worked, and he was laughing about it afterwards. And but I mean, for me, I'm pretty happy with the way I played on them and kind of how I've improved. And like I said, Para did a really great job. That was a quick time on that seed. So
yeah, that was a nice little quick win. I could have gone faster if I probably didn't look with magic containers, just because GP was so free, but it's not that important at the end of the day. Like, getting the magic containers also helped me on the palaces and stuff, so that's a pretty good time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was going to ask you, Bob, Which version of the randomizer are you using? Using DigShake's version or using like an online version?
I use DigShake's version of it, 4.04.
Ah, okay. Because I noticed there's some errors in some of the ending sprites that I was like, oh no, the colors on the princess are wrong, and
I'm using the same version.
Yeah, it's actually the only version that we have currently.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, potentially future versions will use a more correct version of the sprite.
I was actually wondering if there was a different one because I've seen a few people use custom sprites that aren't in the regular 404. I didn't know if there was another one. I actually checked at one point. Yeah, this is the most up-to-date patch of it. So
Yeah, it's just that DigShake hasn't updated it in a very long time, and people have continued to make sprites. And yeah, so I've only made like 2 or 3 since then. Actually, I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 because DigShake forgot one of the sprites that I made, and then Irene has made a ton, and there's a couple other sprite makers who made a lot. So yeah, if you wanna try those, you just get the ISO and you would patch it before you ran the randomizer.
okay.
Yeah, there's a channel on the Z2R Discord called Sprite Workshop, and they've been doing all the sprite stuff in there, and it's just like Carlos said, ISO patch, but it's an IPS patch.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so you patch the base ROM, and then you use that base ROM in the randomizer when you generate your seed, and you'll have, like, you've seen the Sonic sprites and the Goomba sprite and the Barba sprite. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff that people are making that will probably eventually one day be put into the next version. But yeah. All of that's going on in the Sprite Workshop channel there.
Yeah, and you would set your colors to default, and you would set your sprite to link. Otherwise, it would change it afterward.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'll have to do that. I appreciate that. I actually use when I play Z1R, I actually use Trogdor as the sprite, so that was my favorite. But yeah,
we saw some of that in Z2R just a couple days ago.
Jay Coper's got the Trogdor sprite.
I know, that's the one I want so bad. I love that one.
Classic. All right. Well, any of you guys got anything going on in your channel other than Zelda 2 randomizer races?
On mine, yes, I actually do too. My channel, I do random stuff on it. Some new games. Like I've been doing a run of Fallout New Vegas, among other stuff. I do some new games. I do several different randomizers. FF1R, Z1R. We do Free Enterprise a lot. We actually have a separate channel called Let's Racing Time that we do regular weekly races on, and they're always just random, fun, different games. Sometimes it's an actual competitive race. Sometimes it's it's like a new game we've never played. It's a good time. So,
Let's Racing Time sounds like a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, right now I'm just doing Z1R and Z2R mostly, and I've also been doing I've been doing Mega Man Damage Shuffler, which is playing the entire Mega Man franchise, where every time you get hit, it switches to a different game immediately. It's kind of like the
wow.
It's kind of like the game swappers, but it's with damage instead.
Wow, that is crazy.
I started with 29 games, and I'm down to like 7 left, and I've been doing it for like 90 hours. So
wait. So as you get damaged, it switches the game until you beat that game, and it takes it out of the pool?
Yeah. Once you beat the game, you just take it out of the pool, and that's what I'm doing anyway, and then I just play the rest.
Wow.
But yeah, that's kind of fun. I've taken damage something like 16,000 times now over 29 games.
That's a very cool and very insane concept.
Yeah, it's kind of like the randomizer stuff where I just like to play stuff with like different like gimmicks to it is fun for me.
Well, those both sound great. So we have some links to both your guys' channels in chat. If anyone in chat wants to take a look at either of those, they both sound great. And Z1R and Z2R, it sounds like you're both playing, and I think those are some of the best randomizers out there. Yep. Some of the most.
Playing Z1R tomorrow.
They're two of my favorites, that's for sure.
Hopefully they get even better as time progresses. All right. I guess that just about does it.
Any final comment?
GG to both of our runners, and we'll be rolling next week's matchups in the next day or two on Alan Heffley's channel. Check out the Z2R Discord for more Z2R.
All
Thanks
right.
to the cast.
Also, I want to thank the commentary we had today. We had Nightcrawler and Mirai. They did an amazing job commentating that race. Thanks, both of you.
I hope I got to embarrass Mirai and all that as much as I possibly could.
You did.
Thank you.
And also, I was the tracker and the streamer today. I hope you did enjoy the race. And we are going to raid ZSR main. They are starting soon with the A Link to the Past No Major Glitch tournament. So we are going to raid them soon. There we go. Join the raid, send them some love, and see you next time, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.